Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, about now, about now, about now.
What's poppin', y'all? It's your man Cloudboy Bales, and welcome to an episode of Wisco Sports. So today NBA playoffs officially kick off. We have seen an unbelievable play-in games. Of course, the results: the Hornets, the Warriors, the Pacers, and the Spurs have all been eliminated. And it's been a crazy, interesting playoff game. It's just been really interesting to see what's been happening. So obviously, as you can see on my thing, this video is basically all about my predictions for what will happen in the NBA playoffs. It's going to be very exciting. I'm just going to go over each matchup pretty quickly. Hopefully this video gets uploaded in time so y'all people see this before Bucks and Heat kick off. That game starts pretty soon, believe it or not. I'm excited. It's going to be an interesting ride. Obviously, I'll be doing my reaction videos after every game, win or loss. That's just a thing I do for my thing, but that's how it works. So anyways, obviously I keep doing this for every round. It's going to be pretty interesting, but let's see how this goes. I'm not sure of who's going to win the whole thing. Not sure at all, but it'll be interesting. So, kicking off, we got the one-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. First time their head coach, Doc Rivers, gets them the one seed. And then they'll be facing the Wizards, who started the season out really bad. They were like 17-32, and then they ended the season almost 500, going on a crazy, unbelievable record. Russell Westbrook's just averaged a triple-double, and he passed Oscar Robertson for the most triple-doubles all time. Bradley Beal is just another unbelievable player. These two, obviously, they clicked. That's what they were looking for this whole time, and they made a couple trades. And the Wizards, they have just been an absolute hot team. Obviously, on their other hand, Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate. Obviously, this team centers around Joel Embiid, and then Ben Simmons obviously plays the defense. They actually have, compared to last year, this team didn't have any guys that could shoot from the outside. This year, they actually got some guys that could shoot from the outside. Tobias Harris also is having a career year, and they obviously made some good decisions. They made some great trades on defense, and it's a great thing for them. The Sixers did a really great job. So, this one's going to be very interesting. I don't know what to say here, but obviously, as I picked, I'm going to have the Sixers winning in 6 games. I think the Wizards are actually going to win Game 1, and I think it's going to be one of those series where the 76ers actually, struggle a little bit to try to find their groove in the playoffs, and then they kind of get to it, and then they win. So, Wizards are going to shock a lot of people. They're going to play really dang well, but I'm going to take the Sixers because they're the one seed for a reason. Next, the New York Knicks. They have not been in the playoffs since 2013, if I'm correct. And then the Hawks have not been in the playoffs since 2015. Or 16. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. So these two teams have not been in the playoffs for a very long time. So that's a great deal, especially for Knicks. I mean, Knicks have not had a winning record since that year, which has been a real hard thing to come by. Knicks have really had it well. Obviously, he's Julius Randle. I think it's just pretty much unanimous he's going to win Most Improved Player. The Knicks are obviously the reason why they are because of him. And then R.J. Barrett really improved as well for his second year. And then they got Derrick Rose off the bench. That's a great deal. Now you got the Hawks. A lot of the Hawks have so much offense on that team. Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Danilo Gallinari, John Collins, Clint Capella. That team is stacked full of people. The only problem is their defense is not that good. the Knicks play really great defense. Obviously, Tom Thibodeau has that scheme where he played that underneath scheme, yet he still keeps it with him. Obviously, everyone I think knew the coaching change was a huge significant part. I think this is going to be a real great battle. The Knicks got to keep these guys underneath, and I think the Hawks, are going to have some great offense. I think this series is going to go real back and forth. That's why I'm going to say Knicks in 7 for this one. Next up, Bucks and Heat. Rematch from last year. Heat eliminated the Bucks last year. I said last year the Heat was one of the best teams I've seen in a while. I knew they were going to go to the finals. I knew the Bucks weren't ready. This Bucks team is different. They have Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker, which is 2 defensive players that can really have playoff experience. No Eric Bledsoe. That's a big deal. And then you got some guys off the bench in Bobby Portis and Bryn Forbes that can actually make a lot of plays when you need them. I think you have a more confident team than you did last year. Now the Heat, they've been playing underwhelming this year. Obviously, all the times the Bucks have played the Heat this year, no Jimmy Butler, so that could be a little factor. But I feel like they're going to put PJ Tucker on Butler a lot, and hopefully everyone else doesn't really go off. I think Drew Holiday's defense is a huge deal. I think this is going to be a very interesting series. Obviously, Heat. This could be a statement for the Heat if they want to win this. If they want a statement, they need to win the series. But if the Bucks want revenge, they have to win the series, and it's all on the line for Giannis. I think, obviously, as we know, this is a huge series for the Bucks. I know they can't afford to lose this, so I'm going to take the Bucks winning this series in 7. This one's going to be a very competitive series. Next up, the Nets and the Celtics. I don't really want to go over this. I think the Nets are probably the team to beat because they have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, and a bunch of other guys on that same team. They're going to be playing the Celtics, who a lot of people thought were going to be a really hot team, and then all of a sudden they just had a bad season. I don't know what it was. I don't know why they had a bad season, but of course the Celtics are the Celtics. Jason Tatum is like the closest thing to Kobe Bryant. You saw him drop 50 in that one game, and the crazy thing is he's still trying to recover from COVID. It's a crazy deal. So with that, I think obviously the Celtics will compete because Jason Tatum is a great player. Obviously with Jaylen Brown, I think this series would be way more competitive, but of course, obviously the Celtics, they don't have a bench, and that's obviously the reason why I'm going to pick the Nets. The Nets are just going to obviously eat them alive. Celtics will battle back, of course, and probably win a game or 2, but I'm going to obviously take the Nets. Alright, going on to the West, we got the Jazz, the number 1 seeded Jazz, who has the best record in the NBA this year, taking on the 8th seeded Grizzlies, who beat the Warriors last night to get in. Crazy thing that it is. Ja Morant really was clutch. Obviously, the Warriors are probably heartbroken that they couldn't get in, but I was hoping it was going to be Jazz and Warriors because that would have been crazy. That would have been a great series to watch for an 8th seed. I think it was possible. I would actually possibly have an 8th seed upsetting a 1 seed. It never would happen, but that's crazy. But from this standard, I don't think the Grizzlies are a strong enough team to beat the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell will probably come back at some point. They have also Joe Ingles and Jordan Clarkson off the bench to really provide support. This team is just a very confident team. Rudy Gobert, of course, one of the best defensive players to ever play the game. I think obviously the Jazz need this. They are going to have a playoff. They're going to have they're going to obviously have their home games are just going to be really hard because they're going to have their fans back. And that's just going to be really hard for any opposing fans to come through. So I'm going to take the Jazz winning this series in 6 games. I think the Grizzlies will compete because Ja Morant, I think, is playoff ready. So we'll see that. Next up, rematch from last year, Clippers versus Mavericks. I don't think nothing is going to change. I'm hoping Paul George does not have his choke in the playoffs. I feel like he's got to get more confident if he wants to win games. It can't be relied on Kawhi Leonard. I don't think anyone else off the team really can be competing. Obviously, you don't have those 2 bench, but they got Rajon Rondo. That is a big difference. And then they get Serge Ibaka back, which they haven't had him in a while, but that's a great deal. They have him back. I think the Clippers, are great. And then Luka Doncic on the Mavericks, great player. But of course, I gotta pick the Clippers only because I feel like Kawhi Leonard has more experience. Doncic, I don't know if he's ready yet. I don't think they have the team for it, but I think, as it is, the Dallas Mavericks are Luka Doncic. If the Mavericks end up winning this series, I wouldn't be surprised. If this series could go either way, this will go to 7 games, but I'm going to take the Clippers in 7. Next up, Nuggets versus Trailblazers. Obviously, this is a big deal for the Trailblazers to get in the spot. They've been playing a lot better. They have Damian Lillard. They have CJ McCollum. Those two guards can really light it up sometimes. And then you got the Nuggets, who got the best. They got those big guys underneath. They got Nikola Jokic, MVP finalist. They got Aaron Gordon, and they also got Michael Porter. Those are your big three. Some bigger guys, but the problem is their guards are a huge issue. Michael Campazzo, or I can't say his last name, and Austin Rivers and Marcus Howard are their guards right now. They have nobody, and then Monte Morris. Those are their guards right now. Obviously those guys cannot really play the greatest defense. Monte Morris does play good defense, but it's going to be really tough for guys like that to really compete. So maybe Will Barton will be back, who knows. But regardless, Jamal Murray being gone, I think is a huge deal. That's a huge loss. We all know that. I think the Blazers, we saw them win the series last time, so I'm going to actually have the Trailblazers beating them again, as we saw 2 years ago. It'll be a great series for Damian Lillard. Next up, Suns and Lakers. This is obviously a big upset that I have right here, but really, if you look at it, it's the Lakers. So it's not really an upset. The last time we saw the 2-seeded Suns in the playoffs was 2005, where they lost to the 7-seeded Lakers when Kobe was clutch in his element. But this Suns team is way better than that 2005 Suns team. Absolutely. Devin Booker and Chris Paul. This is the first time we're going to see LeBron and Chris Paul face off in the playoffs. Crazy enough as that sounds. But I think they're just going to pick up from where they left off last year. I think the Lakers are going to get a great series win. Obviously, since it's on the road, I'll say that doesn't go in 7 games, but this will go in 6. And I think the Lakers are really going to have a great statement win here. It sucks because I think the Suns actually were the best team in the West this year, but they have played the best they really have played this year. And it just sucks that they have to play the Lakers in the first round. And I just don't think it's just going to be, if they have to jump into that, it's just going to be a really rough road from there. So unfortunately, I'm going to take the Lakers. So that is that. If you like what you saw, subscribe, comment, and enjoy playoffs. Also enjoy this nice day. It's really nice out. Don't stay inside and watch basketball all day. Please don't. Enjoy the nice day. It's very nice out. So anyways, it's your man Cloudboy Bales. Stay tuned for more updates. Stay safe and be smart. And as always, go Bucks. We'll see you next time.